Hi everyone, my name is Na Li. I'm from Google Core ML. Thank you for coming to my workshop. Today's topic is about prototype with vblocks. For those of you who are not familiar with vblocks, we launched at I/O in May. It's an ML prototyping tool, which allows users to easily drag and drop inputs, outputs, models, pre-post processings, and visualizations to quickly build an ML pipeline. It's a tool that anyone can use, such as PM, UX, designer, app developers. Everyone can use it to prototype for your own use cases. So far, we have built a node library with 60 nodes to choose from. For inputs, you can use text input box, image from camera, from your computer or from the web, audio from your speaker, and you can even stream camera and audio to have some real-time effects. For processing logic, you can use text processor and prompt examples for prompt engineering, and you can use shader processor and image editor for effects. For models, you can choose from a large variety of language and image models that we provide. We provide latest offerings from Google, such as PaLM and MediaPipe vision models. If you have advanced use cases, you can use custom API to make HTTP call to other services. And you can write custom JavaScript code using custom script node. Okay, let's take a closer look at the functionalities of vblocks. Here, I'm showing an example pipeline that can get latest news from Google search and fact-check the news with large language models. In vblocks, there's a large editing area in the bottom, like shown here. That's where you can drag and drop nodes and connect them. In this example here, all the green nodes are inputs, all the purple nodes are processing nodes, and all the orange nodes are models. There's a preview area in the top. That's where you will see results from each of these nodes. As I connect the nodes and make changes, new results will show in the preview area. Okay, I hope this gives you a basic idea of what vblocks is. Next, I'm going to walk you through some more examples. These examples are available online so that you can try them yourself as I walk through them. Users build pipelines and contribute them to vblocks community gallery. It's a source of inspiration. So let's go there and take a look. Okay, now I'm on vblocks homepage. You can go there at vblocks.withgoogle.com. There's abundant information on here. What we're going to take a closer look is this community gallery. There's a lot of examples here. Today, we're going to go through some vision examples and then text examples. So the first one we're going to look at is AR sticker effect. So now we're in a vblocks UI. In the bottom, that's where you can edit the pipeline. And on the top is where you can preview the effects. As you can see, there's some visual effects on my head, and there's a virtual background. And the pipeline here shows how I do it. Let's take a closer look. Okay, so first I have a camera input node. So on the top, you will see this camera input node takes camera stream. And what I do is I connect this camera input node with the body segmentation model. What this model does is it segments foreground from the background. As you can see here, this is the results from the model. It separates my foreground, and then it will do something with the foreground. It takes the foreground and run with another model, face landmarks model. What this model does is it identifies 475 key points on my face. And then it uses those landmarks to help me put my AR sticker. So it gives the landmarks to an AR sticker node. What this node does is it takes three inputs. First, it takes the landmarks, and then it populates those here so that I can choose a position where I want to put my sticker. Second, it takes a sticker image. And third, it takes my original image, which connects to here. So this one. And let's see where I get this sticker image. So I have another input, that's the sticker image. And on the top, this is where I get my sticker. And of course, you can use strawberry or any image that you can find online. You can give a URL from those image, or you can upload image from your local system. You can also use the camera to capture a real-time image. Okay, now I have a light bulb, but it's a static image. I want to make some animation with it. So what I do is I use a shader renderer node. What this node does is it take an image, and this is in channel 0. There's some more information you can read about how to use these channels. And then I connect a shader effects. This shader effects will be uploaded to GPU and apply on the image to generate some effects. The shader here is keep zoom in and zoom out on that image. There are other effects we can choose from. For example, I can delete this effect, and there's some built-in effect here. For example, this ripple effect. There are more to choose from this drop-down. Now I have an animated sticker, and I can connect this animated sticker to the sticker image input. That's how I get this AR sticker. And we can check the results of the output from this AR sticker. It looks like this. We are still lacking a virtual background. So I need another input node, the virtual background. So this is the background. You can upload one from your local computer or from the internet, or you can generate one with the latest large models, which I'm not showing here, but it's totally possible. And the last step is we'll use a image mixer node that mixes two images together, which is my foreground and the virtual background. And this is the final result from the image mixer. And I even add some text to it. Okay, so we just go through AR effects in detail. I'm going to show you one more AR-related effects, and hopefully after these two, you will be able to make some effects by yourself. Okay, so the next one we're going to look into is this laser hands. Okay, now we're in the laser hands demo. You haven't seen the effect yet. That's because it needs a hand in the camera. And the final result looks like this. It's not perfect, but it shows the idea. It's a simpler pipeline. Let's go through it. So again, I have a camera input. And this time, instead of connecting to a face landmark model, I connect to a hand landmark model. what this hand landmark model does is it tracks key points on my hands. And as I move my hands, it keeps tracking those key points. And now I have these landmarks. I give these landmarks to the shader node that we also use in the other example. And we use a custom written shader. This is what it does. It tracks those, it uses those landmarks and then generate some red laser effects with it. Actually, you can find many custom written shaders contributed by others online. You can go to sources like Shader Toy to find a lot of them and try those yourself. And the last step is now I have this effect. This is the effect that's coming from the shader, and I need to overlay that effect to my original image. And that's what the image mixer does to mix two images, and you see the final results. And when I share this with others, I only want them to try the final results. So what I will do is I will hide these intermediate nodes. So they were there just for me to debug my pipeline as I build it. And now I only want to show the final results. So this is the only thing that if I share with anyone, that they will see. So it's effectively an application that we just built in a few minutes. Okay, so going back, we just take a look at some AR effects. There's a few nodes that are very useful if you want to build the AR effects. There's this shader processing node that will apply a shader effect, either built-in or something that you provide to it and apply it to an image. And there is a few vision models that are very useful, the face landmarks, body segmentation, and hand landmarks. And hopefully you can build your own AR effects with these nodes. So next, we're going to look at some language use cases. Okay, now we're going back to the community gallery page. There's a lot of language use cases as well. You can use this tag filter to tag only language examples. So the first one we're going to see is a simple one. Let's see this weather summarization. Okay, now we're in the weather summarization example. So what this example does is very simple. It starts from a text input. For example, I can ask, what is the weather like in San Francisco? And it asks this question to a PaLM model, which I'm showing here. And the input to the model is called a prompt. And we're going to get an answer from it. There's a few parameters you can tune, but the default is good with me, so I'll just use the default. And you need an API key that you can apply online. So here I give it my API key and I click fetch. It will give me result. San Francisco has a Mediterranean climate with warm, dry summers and a whole paragraph to describe the weather. And next, I wanted to summarize. So I give the results to a node called text formatter. And I give it some instruction. So that instruction is in another node. So this instruction, I put it in another text input, summarize it in one sentence. I connect this instruction and the results from the PaLM model here. And of course, you can reorder your inputs if it's not in the right order, and you can see the results here. So I'm using the method join. There are other methods that we're going to go over later. So let's see join. Join is when you have multiple inputs to this node. So in this case, I have two nodes. One has the instruction, the other has a paragraph of text. And so I said I join these two nodes with a separator. This is what it looks like. Summarize it in one sentence and then that paragraph. Now I give this prompt to a second PaLM model. So for this model, I ask it to summarize the paragraph in one sentence. And let's see. Okay, it does it in one sentence. San Francisco has a Mediterranean climate with warm, dry summer and cool, wet winters. Okay, so this is a example showing summarization use case. Now let's look at the more complex use case. Email generation and review. Okay, now we're in this use case. I personally really like it because I can use it in my everyday life. Let's take a look. So here I have three inputs. Let's see what are they. In the first input, we can see in the preview. This is the main body of what I want to do in this email. I said, I sent my apartment keys from the US to Canada. I was charged by your company $40 for sales tax, $53 for entry fee, $5 for service fee. This is wrong. And this is, I want my money back. So this is what I want to communicate. And then in the second input, this is a name, John Doe, and then in the third input, address to company customer service. Okay, now see how I compose these three inputs together. So this time I use another function from the text formatter. I use format string. It allows me to write additional text here. So what I write here is write an appropriate professional email to 342 about the following request and 1. So what these 3, 2, 1 are, these are the numbers represent the inputs, and 3 is this one, is the company customer service, and the 2 is this one. You can see the label here, so you can easily see which one is which. So 2 is this name, John Doe, and then 1 is the main body of the content. So you can actually see the results here. Write an appropriate professional email to company customer service for John Doe about the following request, and that's the request. Okay, so now we have this task. Sometimes we say this is an instruction. Sometimes we say this is a prompt. It's interchangeable. And we want to give it a little bit more in this instruction. These are the three variations I want to generate. So the first one, I say that's the main instruction, but I attach something more specific. Be friendly and sincere. And then the second one, I said use strong words. And then the third one, use short sentences, write straight to the point. So these are three email tones I want to generate. And for each of these three, each of this instruction, I connect to a PaLM model. So I actually connect to 3 palm models here, as you can see. And let's try it. So the first one, write this email, be friendly and sincere. And here's the result. It's a little bit long, but we can see later. And then the second one, let's run it too. And then the third one. Okay, now I can certainly look at each of them myself and choose which one I like. But I can also ask a model to do it for me. So here at last, I use another model to pick the best one for me. I said, out of the following 3 emails, which one do you think is better? Email A, which is more friendly, B, which is use more strong words, and 3, use short sentences and write to the point. So, and you can see what's generated from email A, B, and C. Okay, and let's see. Okay, it's getting too long. Anyway, you get the point. Okay, now back to the gallery. So last, I want to show you one more example, which is really interesting, very complex, and really fun. It's called Werewolf Game Generator. So in this example, I have 6 palm models. Each one act as a player, and I asked them to basically play a werewolf game, and they can reason about what each other says, and at the end, they vote for the werewolf. So the instruction to uh, I give to the agents or the models are, you are playing the werewolves of Miller's Hollow. There are 6 people in total: Anne, Ben, Carrie, Danny, Emily, Frank. These are basically the 6 models. 4 people are villagers and the rest 2 are werewolves. In the first night, Ben was killed. And further, to explain the rule of the game, this is your turn to speak. The following are what other people have said. If you find nothing below, it means you are the first speaker. So let's see how it plays. So I have this intro about each one's about the game rule, and then for each one I give a little bit of description of who they are. For example, for Anne or for Carrie, let's see. I will tell Carrie, you are a village, your name is Carrie. Please vote a werewolf other than yourself and explain why. And then as I run each model, and they will start generate results. For example, if I run Anne first, there's no other information. Anne only knows Anne's own role, and Anne needs to vote. So Anne will write something, and then Anne will give the results to all the others who are in the game. And then I can click any of these next, and then they will know what Anne said, and based on their own role and what the context from before, and they make their own reasoning. And this way, as I manually click these, they will make more reasoning. So this shows that by prompt engineering and training, I can we can provide context of a very complex chat and ask the models to do some reasoning. Okay. Okay, we have walked through some examples, really fun examples contributed by the community. And next, because this is a workshop, I want everyone to try your idea. Please go to visualblocks.withgoogle.com, and there is a demo tab where you can check two more demos and you can build your own demos. Just to give you some ideas, these are the things that I tried before. There are pipelines that may be useful for your daily life. For example, to do trip planning, to do summarization. And there are pipelines that can be helpful for productivity. For example, I'm a program manager and I often need to summarize meeting notes, and I can build a pipeline to do that. Or like I just showed, I want to write an email with some tones, or I can provide my writing and ask a model to provide guidance on my writing. And at last, it can also generate code. Another thing is gaming. For example, some reasoning game like what I just showed, Werewolf. And then effects. You can build many effects for virtual try-on, virtual sticker, virtual background, or like talking bubble. As you talk, it identify where your mouse is, and then provide summarization or provide generated contents from. And then attach a image talking bubble that's tracking your mouse. The imagination is unlimited. And the last is for research. For example, you can compare different models to the same inputs and compare and evaluate the quality of those models. You can do data augmentation. For image, there's a image processing node. You can change the brightness, you can distort the image, you can change the aspect ratio, crop it, and see whether the model is robust or not. For text, you can use that text formatter node to do further text processing. Okay, so before we wrap up this session, I want to go through how you can build a demo. We can do this together. This is where you are going to do it. So on this tab, demo, create your own. You have a empty editor where you can use. And on the left, these are the node library. There's a lot of input nodes, and you can click the information button to see a description of what they are and what are the inputs and outputs, what types they produce or they are expecting. And then there's a search node. You can provide a query, and this search node will query from Google. And processing nodes, AR sticker, we go through that. Image mixer, image editor is image editor and image processor. For example, if this image editor, I give it an image, and then I can specify the width and height to resize it. And shader render, we also went through this one. This image editor we went through. Okay, and there's a lot of models here that you can choose from. For example, we went through the Palm generator model. There's also a Palm chat model you can use to chat with it. For example, it can even understand. It can even explain code for you, or you can just freely chat with it. And there are many output nodes that visualize effects. and there are some processing nodes and advanced nodes that let you to do custom thing like custom API and custom script. So we can quickly build one here just to get you an idea how to start. For example, for the summarization task, I can start from some text input. For example, let me get a paragraph. For example, this is something about Tokyo. Tokyo is a crazy, frantic, and astounding city. There's a lot of places you can visit in Tokyo. And from here, I can drag an edge out and it will recommend some node. And also you can choose from other nodes that are compatible to this node, meaning you can connect these nodes are expecting a text input. So in this case, I again choose the Palm node here. So this is the prompt, but I wanted to summarize. So I actually cannot directly connect it to it. I need to connect it to the processor node, this one. And then I can again use the format string, say summarize below paragraph in one sentence. And then I give a template to it. I give it one. So summarize below paragraph in one sentence, and that's the paragraph. And I give that prompt, and also I need to give it a API key. And here we see the result. Tokyo is an amazing city with a vibrant culture and history that everyone should visit. Okay, and then you can export your pipeline. Feel free to contribute to the website from our GitHub page or share with your friends. You can also import other pipelines you found online or shared by others. Okay, that's pretty much my talk today. Thank you for coming to my workshop. Try vblocks today at vblocks.withgoogle.com. And there are many interesting talks throughout the day. Make sure you check them as well. Thank you. Bye-bye.